Your heart has been hardening for years, not because you wanted it to, but because it had to. Every betrayal built a wall, every disappointment added a layer, every heartbreak taught you that vulnerability equals pain, that opening up means getting hurt, that letting someone in just gives them the power to destroy you. So you hardened. You protected yourself. You built defenses so strong that now you can't feel and trust anymore. And while that hardness protected you from more pain, it's also blocking you from the love you've been praying for. Because love requires softness. And God isn't going to bring love into your life while your heart is this hard, not because you don't deserve it, but because a hard heart can't receive it, can't recognize it, can't sustain it. So before He brings the right person, He has to soften your heart. The first way God softens your heart for love is by exposing the walls you've built and showing you that what was once protection has become a prison. The walls started as protection. After someone hurt you, you built a boundary. After another person betrayed you, you added distance. After repeated heartbreak, you constructed barriers so high that no one could get close enough to wound you again. And for a while, those walls worked. They kept you safe from pain, shielded you from vulnerability, protected you from the risk of being hurt. But somewhere along the way, what was meant to protect you from bad love started preventing you from receiving good love. The walls that kept pain out also keep love out. The defenses that guard your heart from being broken also guard it from being touched. And God has to expose that reality, showing you that your protection has become your prison. God softens your heart by letting you feel the isolation the walls create. You notice that you can't connect deeply anymore. Conversations stay surface level, relationships stay casual. People try to get close and you push them away. Without realizing it, you want intimacy, but you sabotage it. You pray for love, but you reject anyone who tries to give it because your walls are so automatic that you don't even recognize you're blocking what you're asking for. Think about the Pharaoh in Exodus whose heart was hardened. The text says repeatedly that Pharaoh's heart was hard, that he wouldn't let the people go despite plague after plague, demonstrating God's power. The hardness wasn't protecting him, it was destroying him, his nation, his people. Every plague was an opportunity to soften, to yield, to let go. But he held on to his hardness until it cost him everything, including his own son. Hardness always costs more than it protects. What you think is keeping you safe is actually keeping you stuck, isolated, unable to receive what God is trying to give you. When God exposes your walls, He does it gently but clearly. He brings people into your life who are safe, who are kind, and you still can't trust them. He creates opportunities for connection, and you find reasons to avoid them. And in that pattern, He's showing you the problem isn't them, it's the walls. The walls you built to survive past pain are now preventing future love. And if you don't let Him soften your heart, you'll spend your life safe but alone, protected but isolated. Here's what's crucial. Recognizing your walls isn't the same as dropping them immediately. God isn't asking you to become naive, to ignore red flags, to give everyone access to your heart regardless of whether they've earned it. He's asking you to acknowledge that what once protected you is now imprisoning you. That awareness is the first step toward softening, because you can't change what you won't acknowledge, and God is showing you the walls so you can begin to let Him dismantle them, not all at once, but gradually, as He brings safe people who prove that vulnerability doesn't always equal pain. The second way God softens your heart for love is by healing the wounds that caused the hardness in the first place. Hardness is always a response to woundedness. Your heart didn't harden randomly. It hardened because something hurt you deeply enough that you vowed, consciously or unconsciously, never to be hurt like that again. Maybe it was a parent who abandoned you, teaching you that people you love will leave. Maybe it was a partner who betrayed you, teaching you that trust gets weaponized. Maybe it was a series of relationships where you gave everything and got nothing back, teaching you that love means losing yourself. Whatever the wound, the hardness is scar tissue, your heart's attempt to protect what's already been damaged. And God can't soften the hardness without healing the wound underneath it. God softens your heart by bringing you back to the source of the pain so He can heal it. This is terrifying because the last thing you want to do is revisit what hurt you. You've spent Years avoiding it, minimizing it, pretending it didn't affect you as much as it did. But avoidance isn't healing. And God, in His mercy, won't let you avoid forever what needs to be healed so you can move forward. He surfaces memories you've buried. He brings up feelings you've suppressed. He creates situations that trigger the old pain so you'll finally address it instead of just building more walls around it. Think about Jacob wrestling with God in Genesis 32. Jacob had been running from his past for 20 years, running from the brother he'd betrayed, running from the consequences of his deception, running from the man he'd been. But God brought him back to face Esau, back to confront what he'd been avoiding. And before Jacob could face his brother, he had to wrestle with God all night. He had to confront the fear, the guilt, the wound he'd been carrying. The wrestling left him permanently changed. His name changed to Israel, his hip forever marked. But the wound was finally addressed. The running was finally over. And he was finally ready to face what he'd been fleeing from. When God heals the wounds underneath your hardness, the process is painful. Because healing always requires feeling. You have to feel the pain you've been avoiding. You have to grieve what you lost, what was taken from you. You have to admit how deeply you were hurt, how much the wound changed you. And in that admission, God can finally heal what hardness has only been covering. Healing doesn't mean the wound never happened. It means the wound no longer controls you, no longer determines how you respond to every person who tries to love you. Here's what's profound. You can't soften until you heal, and you can't heal until you feel. The emotions you've been suppressing, the pain you've been avoiding, the grief you've been postponing, God is asking you to feel it now so you don't carry it forever. Let yourself cry over what hurt you. Let yourself be angry about what was done to you. Let yourself grieve what you lost. That feeling is the pathway to healing, and healing is the pathway to softness. God is taking you through the pain you've been avoiding, not to torture you, but to free you from the prison that unhealed wounds create. The third way God softens your heart for love is by showing you His love when human love has failed you. One of the reasons your heart hardened is because the people who were supposed to love you didn't, or they loved you poorly, conditionally, destructively. And somewhere deep in your belief system, you started equating love with pain, with disappointment, with betrayal. Love became something to fear rather than something to desire. And God has to break that association by showing you what love actually is, not through imperfect people who failed you, but through Himself. He softens your heart by letting you experience His love in ways that prove love doesn't have to hurt, doesn't have to be conditional, doesn't have to end in abandonment. God shows you His love through His faithfulness when people weren't faithful. He shows you His consistency when people were inconsistent. He shows you His presence when people abandoned you. And as you experience His love, reliable, unchanging, unconditional, your heart begins to soften because you realize that maybe love itself isn't the enemy. Maybe it was just the wrong expressions of love. But real love, God's love, is safe. And experiencing His love teaches you that human love can be safe too, if it's from the right person. Think about the prodigal son in Luke 15. He took his inheritance, squandered it, ended up feeding pigs and eating their food, hitting absolute rock bottom. Everything he'd experienced of love in the far country was transactional, temporary, conditional. People only wanted him when he had something to offer. But when he came home, broken and ashamed, his father ran to him. The father didn't. He was wait for him to prove himself, didn't make him earn his way back, didn't hold his failures over his head. He ran to embrace him, put a robe on him, threw a party for him. That's the love that softens hard hearts. Love that doesn't wait for perfection, doesn't demand performance, doesn't disappear when you're at your worst. When God shows you His love, He often does it in the waiting. In the season when you don't have human love, when you're single and lonely, He proves that you're already chosen by Him. In the moments when you feel invisible, He shows up. In the times when you feel forgotten, He reminds you He never leaves. And that experience of being loved by God when no one else is loving you begins to soften the hardness, begins to create space in your heart for love again. Here's what's necessary. Don't rush past the season of experiencing God's love because you're desperate for human love. The work God is doing in teaching you how love should feel what healthy love looks like, what it means to be loved unconditionally. That's the foundation for recognizing and receiving the right human love later. If you don't learn to receive God's love, you'll settle for human love that isn't love at all. But if you let Him teach you what love is through experiencing His love, your softened heart will be able to recognize and receive the love He eventually brings through the right person. The fourth way God softens your heart for love is by putting you in situations that require vulnerability. You can't learn to be vulnerable in isolation. You can't practice openness by yourself. You can't develop the capacity for intimacy without actually being in relationship with people. So God softens your heart by strategically placing you in situations, friendships, community, family relationships, that require you to practice vulnerability in small, safe doses before you're asked to be vulnerable in romantic love. He gives you opportunities to open up, to trust, to let people see you, to admit you need help, to receive support. And each time you choose vulnerability instead of self-protection, your heart gets a little softer, a little more ready for the intimacy that love requires. The vulnerability training happens gradually. Maybe it's a friendship where you finally admit you're struggling. Maybe it's a small group where you share something real. Maybe it's asking for help when you need it. These moments feel risky because vulnerability always feels risky. But God chooses safe people, safe environments, people who won't weaponize your openness, who prove that being vulnerable doesn't always end in pain. Think about Peter walking on water in Matthew 14. Peter asked Jesus if he could come to him on the water. Jesus said yes, and Peter got out of the boat, the ultimate vulnerability, stepping into impossibility, trusting that Jesus would hold him up. He started sinking when he looked at the wind and waves instead of keeping his eyes on Jesus. But even in his sinking, Jesus reached out and caught him. Peter's vulnerability, his willingness to get out of the boat when every logical part of his brain said stay safe, was the only way he could experience walking on water. And God does the same with you. He invites you out of the boat of self-protection into the vulnerability of trusting Him and trusting others. And even when you start to sink, He catches you. The vulnerability is how you learn your heart can be soft again. When God gives you opportunities for vulnerability, you'll feel the resistance. Every instinct will tell you to stay closed, stay safe, stay defended. Your past will scream that being vulnerable means getting hurt. Your walls will argue that letting people in is foolish. But God is asking you to take the risk anyway, not recklessly, not with people who haven't proven they're safe, but with the safe people He's strategically placed in your life, specifically to help soften your heart. And every time you choose vulnerability and it doesn't end in betrayal, every time you open up and you're met with kindness instead of judgment, your heart learns that maybe it's safe to be soft again. Here's what's critical. Vulnerability isn't weakness, it's courage. It takes more strength to be open than to stay closed. It takes more bravery to risk being hurt again than to guarantee you won't by never letting anyone close. God is developing courage in you through these small acts of vulnerability. And that courage, that willingness to be open even when it's scary, is exactly what you'll need when the right person comes along. Because love requires vulnerability. And God is training your heart to be vulnerable again by giving you safe places to practice before the stakes are as high as marriage. The fifth way God softens your heart for love is by breaking your cynicism about love through examples of healthy love you can't deny. Cynicism hardens hearts faster than almost anything else. When you've been hurt repeatedly, when every relationship has ended badly, when you've watched other people's relationships fall apart, you develop a cynical view of love itself. You start believing that healthy love doesn't exist, that everyone's faking it, that all relationships eventually become toxic or end in heartbreak. That cynicism becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You don't pursue love because you don't believe in it, and not pursuing it guarantees you won't find it. God softens your heart by putting undeniable examples of healthy love in front of you. Marriages that work, couples who actually love each other well, relationships that prove your cynicism wrong. God shows you couples who have been married for decades and still genuinely like each other. He lets you witness marriages where conflict gets resolved with respect, where both people serve each other. He puts you in community. with people whose relationships aren't perfect but are healthy. And every example chips away at your cynicism, proving that what you've experienced isn't what love has to be, that healthy love isn't a fairy tale, it's real, it's possible, and it could be yours if you'll let your heart soften enough to believe in it again. Think about Zechariah and Elizabeth in Luke 1. They were old, childless, had given up hope of ever having a child. Years of disappointment could have made them bitter, cynical, hard toward each other. But the text describes them as righteous in the sight of God, observing all the Lord's commands and decrees blamelessly. They remained faithful to God and to each other, despite disappointment. And God gave them John the Baptist in their old age, proving that faithfulness outlasts disappointment, that hope can be renewed, that what seems impossible can still happen. Their story breaks cynicism because it shows that maintaining a soft heart through disappointment positions you for the blessing that cynicism would have blocked. When God breaks your cynicism through examples of healthy love, pay attention to what you feel. You'll notice resistance. Part of you will want to dismiss what you're seeing, to find the flaw, to explain it away so you can maintain your protective cynicism. But another part of you will feel something else. Hope. A quiet, terrifying hope that maybe love could work for you too, that maybe you could have what they have, that maybe your heart could soften enough to try again. That hope is God working. That hope is your heart beginning to soften. Don't suppress it because hope feels dangerous. Let it grow. Because hope is the opposite of cynicism, and hope is what allows your heart to open again. Here's what's significant. Don't compare their beginning to your middle. Don't look at couples who are thriving and assume they never struggled, never hurt each other, never had to work through hard things. Every healthy relationship has been tested. Every good marriage has survived conflict. What you're seeing is the fruit of two people who chose to love each other through imperfection, who kept their hearts soft even when it was hard. That's what God is inviting you into. Subscribe for more biblical truth about trusting God to prepare your heart for love.